My name is Torut Husted. I'm a professor of public administration and management at the Hertie School in Berlin, and I'm the chair of the COST Action COREX. COREX stands for Comparative Research on the Executive Triangle, and it is a pan-European network of scholars that studies the executive triangle. That is, the relations and interactions between executive politicians, top civil servants and political advisors.
So the COREX network is the largest research initiative for many years on political administrative relations from a comparative perspective. It brings together separated research communities studying different parts of the executive triangle.
In our working group, we try to understand the better executive triangle from three angles. The first one is the positions themselves, so our focus is on positions rather than individuals. And we try to see if there are more actors than the usual three: minister, advisor, and bureaucrat. So perhaps we uncover political appointees or nuances in advisors. The second approach is to the structure itself. We really want to understand what is the power and hierarchical relations among them, if somebody is more important or less important, or they share power. And the third approach is into the formal rules, how they navigate through appointments, recruitment, protections against termination.
We are looking at, first of all, at executive politicians, top bureaucrats, and senior or top advisors. Among the executive politicians, we look at ministers and prime ministers, who are commonly the members of cabinets, but we also look at deputy ministers and junior ministers, who are rarely studied in this field. Then in the bureaucracy, we look at the top two layers of the bureaucracy. So we look at what in the UK would be a permanent secretary and a director general. But we also look at the advisors who sit between the politicians and the bureaucrats. And there we look primarily at top advisors, for instance, heads of ministerial cabinets and ministerial offices.
We try to understand the executive triangle from the inside out. So we do elite interviews with these actors, with ministers, with senior civil servants, with political advisors in 25 countries to study not just from the outside what the formal theory is, but how the actors themselves see their everyday dilemmas. And that's how we discover the differences between theory and practice.
In Working Group 4, we study how power is ethical, transparent, and accountable in the executive triangle of ministers, civil servants, and advisors. We also map frameworks of ethical standards, integrity, accountability, and transparency. We also study scandals and controversies across countries over time, and we try to explain and locate cracks in these frameworks and these practices.
COREX is a very significant project in the study of the executive triangle and political administrative relations, because we are the first one in recent years that really systematically collects and analyzes data across a wide range of aspects of the executive triangle. Also, we cover regions and countries that have so far been understudied. So we really fill empirical gaps.
Most of the research on executive triangle comes for established democracies like United Kingdom or the Netherlands or Germany, but we know basically nothing about South Europe or Central and Eastern European countries, and it is really exciting to see those in the perspective or in the comparative way.
In Europe, we live in a time of war and rumors of war. We live in times of populism and democratic backsliding. And especially in these times, in times of crisis, but also in times of potential and renewal, it's important to study our governments, because governments matter in these times. And that's what we do at COREX. We study the life at the top, the very workings, the inner workings of the apex of executive governments across the continent.
We are offering an extensive cross-sectional dataset on ethical standards, integrity, accountability, and transparency frameworks. So essentially, we are doing a public service to the community.
We have various contacts established already with, for instance, the European Commission or the OECD or OECD Sigma, all of which have an interest in understanding how executive triangles work across Europe, but also outside the European Union, in those countries that maybe want to join the European Union, and often look for ways and means how they can reform and improve the executive triangle.
So I hope that the work we do in COST-COREX will lay the foundation for a new generation of researchers on political administrative relations.
COST-COREX will publish single country studies, so case reports on single countries, as well as comparative analysis. Why are we doing this? Because looking at single countries allows us to really go in depth and understand the respective case, and comparing across various dimensions or facets of the executive triangle really aims to deepen our understanding of the variation of the executive triangle.